Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today I've got a project share to share with you. I've made a couple projects and I've absolutely loved them, and I can't wait to share them with you. These are all made with using surprise creation dies from their latest release that they sent me. I'll try and link everything down below that I used today in case you would like to try and find it yourself. So to get started, I made this bunting banner. So these dies came here and I instantly thought, oh, I can make bunting with those. I'm not a big bunting person, it's not really my thing, but we've got this wall in our house and it has got all the kids' certificates on it. I wanted something to go up there. I wanted to be able to give them some awards if they're not in school for a little while. I wanted to be able to put something up on the wall for them. And so I created this which says awards, and I wanted to share with you how I made them. So it's a bit difficult because they're all strung out and I'd hold it up for you but you won't be able to see it, but I'm going to put a photo on in a second where you can see what it looks like on my wall with all the kids' current certificates that they got from school. So to get started, I cut out using these dies. Now they are the exact same size. So this one here is the same size as this one. So if you want to put them together, you got to use the larger one and then the slightly smaller one. And so all I did on mine was I just cut out of gold glitter cardstock. I cut the background with the kind of wonky torn edge, and then I did the smooth one for that one. And then I've also used these diamonds. Now I've got the straight ones as well, but as per usual, I have no idea where I stuck them in my office, but I got the diamonds, and so I did the same with the diamonds. I did sort of the torn edge on the outside and then the solid edge on the inside. And what I've done is I've popped up this layer with some purple foam, if you can see. So all I did was I took the triangle that was slightly smaller, I think, then, so the one, yeah, about this one here, I think, because this is the next size down, and I cut out of fun foam purple triangle so that this would kind of be up on a bit of dimension, and I glued that underneath this purple base here. And then to get this dotted edging, I took, I think it was the same one here, it's really hard, sorry, because of my ribbon, but I put that on the top just like this, upside down. And then I took a white gel pen and I just drew dashes all along, so that I then made sure that all of my dashes on all of my triangles were the exact same around the edge. So then this is the size down from the one I used. I flipped it over and then just traced the outside of it basically. And so that's kind of how I got the white little stitch border on it. My letters are awesome from Surprise Creation. I bought these and shared them with you on a haul video a little while ago. I purchased these myself. I really wanted some letters, and this comes with the full alphabet in capital letters and the full alphabet in lowercase letters. Now I had a disaster. I wasn't paying attention, and this, instead of tidying up as I went, I just carried on making stuff, and the W got stuck underneath my platform, and I ran it through the Big Shot and I heard this conk conk, like worse than normal. I pulled it out and there this was wedged into the back of my platform, and I've broken off the edge of that W. So I'm going to have to use my M from now on as a W, which is a bit gutting, but never mind, lesson learned. As you can see here in this picture, there's my Big Shot with a nice chunk taken out of it as well. Be mindful when you're using small dies to put them to the side and not just stack your Big Shot platform on top. So that was my little life lesson. But I love this bunting. I love how it turned out. It's really sweet and cute, and it does the trick. Right, my next project, I used these dies here. So I've got the squares with the slightly angled corners, and I also have the rectangles. Now these ones here are really cool because they do line up well with photos. They are in inches, and they go well with photos. So when I first saw these, I thought I could make an album, and I have made an album. These ones here have also worked really well because they also are, because they're square, you can use them with square photos as well, because a lot of people do print square photos. So I have a whole bunch of square photos that I printed, and this worked really well with that. And then I've got this flower set here from Surprise Creation with the leaves. I didn't use the leaves, but I did use the flowers. And again, I used my letters that I picked up from Surprise Creation. So this is my album, and it took me a long time. It didn't take a long time because of all the cutting and the prepping. It took a long time because it was a really, really emotional process for me. This is an album I made for my daughter based on our trip to Canada last summer. We took the kids to the mountains for the first time, which has been, it was my first time back in the mountains since before children. So it was amazing for me. We went back to Canada. My family lives in Edmonton, so we stayed with them, but then we also ventured to Calgary to one of my friend's houses and stayed with her for a bit, and we did a few days in the mountains, and that was extremely amazing for me. So this album was really emotional to make. It's really hard when your family lives far away and you're not close, and I'm sorry, I didn't want to cry. It's just hard when, you know, you've got family that live overseas and there's a virus and you can't see them. And it's really hard when you've made amazing memories, and amazing memories with your kids, and you don't know when you're going to get to go and do that again. So that's why this took so long. I did promise that I was going to share it with you forever ago, but it literally has taken me 3 weekends and a lot of tears. So they're all happy tears, but it is also a bit sad. I'd like to see my family and friends again, but we'll trust in God and we'll leave it to Him as to when I can go back home again to visit. Okay, so to create the cover, I used some pink cardstock and then some pink glitter cardstock. This stuff is from Lime Tree Crafts here in the UK. The white glitter card I believe I got at B&M in the UK. And what I did was I backed all the flowers on some pink foam. So I cut out my flowers, and then I cut them out of foam as well. And the hole is nice and big on these, so I just was able to stick a brad through and fold it on the other side, and then I hot glued them onto the front because it is sometimes really difficult to glue onto this non-shed glitter. It just really doesn't want to stick. Now to make my cover, I used the largest die, and I die cut it out of this rich raspberry cardstock from Stampin' Up, but on the inside of my card I used a bit of packaging. So it was a bit of cardstock that came with a paper pack, and I die cut that out as well, and so it's actually 3 layers thick. So I've got my outside layer, my packaging, and then another layer of the purple. So it's 3 layers thick on the front and the back cover to make it really sturdy. I've bound it all with my cinch binding machine from We Are Memory Keepers. I might have to go back and change my coil because it's quite a big album in the end, so I might need to change that. Then for Rosalie's name, I die cut it out of the pink glitter from Lime Tree, but then I also stacked it onto 3 layers of white cardstock underneath, so that it's got kind of firm dimension on it, and that's how I made the cover. So moving to the inside of the album, this is where I've got those square ones. Because they're the same shape as the rectangles, they go really well, and I got a whole bunch of photos printed from Snapfish in the UK, and I believe these are 10 by 10 photos, and then I backed them on to sort of the third one up from the square set. So I used the 2, sorry, not the third, it's quite a few in, but I used that one there for my photos, and then I used that one for my backing bit of card. So I did die cut out my photos, and then I die cut out that bit of backing card to go with it. And then I also took my photos, and I got one of these corner chompers. So it's like the hole punch, but it's instead of being a corner rounder, it kind of cuts your corners at an angle. So I used this thing, which I got off of Amazon, I'll link it below, and I just cut all the corners of my photos on the big ones because I found that I wanted to share and show off my papers that I used, but I didn't want to lose sight of that paper. And also with having the binding, I would have then had to have punched through 2 lots of extra cardstock in order to have one that was like the next level down. So this is obviously 1 layer, skipped a layer, then this layer, and then my picture fit on top of that. So that's kind of why I did that. I could have done the next layer and then use this for my photos essentially, or use the other layer and kind of cut my photos down, but I didn't want to have to run every photo through the big shot to die cut it in the same way, but I felt like this did it nice. I felt like this was a nice kind of corner to go with the corners that I've already gotten there. So these are my kids in Canada on my street where I grew up. And there's my daughter and my grandpa. My grandpa just turned 86 2 weeks ago. And they have the same kind of bond that I have with him. I grew up with my grandparents and my mum. So going home is massively special and amazing for me. That's just a really, really amazing photo. I think I've got one of Rosalie since she was born. We've gone back 4 times since Rosalie's born, and I just love that they still cuddle, and I did that with my grandpa for years. Anyway, so we went to the mountains and I just had lots of fun making this album for her. Now, I've done some waterfalls, and I'm going to share the tutorial on how I made the waterfalls in just a second. I'll share the rest of the album with you and then I'll get to that. But basically, I wanted more photos than I could fit in this book, so I decided to do a waterfall. We saw a grizzly bear. I've never seen a grizzly bear in my life, and we saw like every kind of animal. We saw a cougar, grizzly bear, black bears, pretty much everything apart from a moose we saw when we were home. So all you have to do is just pull that tab and then you can see all the photos. So I did a waterfall there where you can basically see all the string hanging out where I did the waterfalls. And then there's another waterfall one there. Again, this album just means so much, and I think my daughter's absolutely going to love it. I can't wait to give it to her. We went and saw my best friend Chelsea and her husband, and they had a lot of dogs. They live on a big acreage in Canada. We went to the Royal Tyrrell Dinosaur Museum, and then we went to the Hoodoos, and we saw fossils and collected fossils. So again, I'm going to stick something there. I might put some writing and journaling in here. Sorry, it's really hard to do this and share with you. This was really cool. We were the first people to find this piece of a dinosaur. I think it was like a thigh bone or something. It was like a piece of it. We were the first people to find it. We went on like a dinosaur expedition, and that was really fun. So Rosie was dead proud of that. And then these ones, I have one of these blown up in my kitchen that I framed at work. We went to this bit of the mountains just after we saw the grizzly bear, and I just sat by a stream and just listened to the stream, and the kids just ran, and my husband just took pictures of them running around, and it was just such an amazing experience. So this is our little mini version of our trip to Canada. I hope you don't mind that I shared it with you. But yeah, that's the album, and so I'm going to share with you the tutorial now on how I made the waterfalls. So I thought I'd share with you how to do the waterfall section in my mini album. So you're going to need your 4 squares, however you like them, whether you want them matted onto a bit of card or whether you just want them straight up as the picture. I like putting them on the bit of card. I think that it might help keep the picture in better shape. It gives it a bit more stability, makes it a bit more thick for when it's rolling around. So you've got your 4 squares. What you're going to do is you're going to measure the width of your square. This is if you want to do it like me. I've seen others where they've done it much narrower, so it's completely up to you. I liked the wide version that kind of fit the width of my picture. So this is 3 1/4 wide. So I'm going to cut my strip to be 3 1/4 wide, and I'm going to use the same colored cardstock. So I've got this rich Razzleberry Stampin' Up cardstock from my old demonstrator days. And I'm going to cut it at 3 1/4 inches wide, because that's how wide my square is. Then I'm also going to just cut a little strip, roughly about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. I think I'll do 1 1/4 inches. Let's do that. I'm going to cut a strip that wide. So you're going to have one strip about 1 1/4 inches, and then a strip that's the width of your squares. Now, next what I'm going to do is you need to score it. Now I know that these are 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 because they're just squares. So I'm going to score my cardstock at 3 1/4. Like so. Now basically what you're meant to do is do every centimeter, and because I've scored it at an inch, 3 1/4 inches, it just is too much for my brain to work it out, and I don't want to mess with a good thing that I've basically seen every single tutorial online says 1 centimeter, so we're going to stick with the 1 centimeter. And the easiest way for me to do this, because obviously it's going to be a bit tricky to convert inches to centimeters and then work out 1 centimeter, is I'm just going to put my T ruler along that score line there, and then I'm going to mark 1 centimeter, and then I'm going to go and get my my trimmer back out, and then I'm going to score it at those marks. So you're going to just need 3 extra marks because you've already got that 1 score line there. So then you're going to do a 2nd score line, 3rd and 4th on your project. So to do the score lines, I use my paper trimmer. I just find that that is much easier. And I just line up the mark along with the groove in my paper trimmer. And I just run my scoring tool along it. There we go. So now we have 4 score lines along there. The next thing you want to do is you're going to fold them all the same direction. So I'm going to fold it over that way, and I'm going to firm that score line, and then you're going to fold the next one in the same direction. So all your score lines are going in the same, facing the same way. So you're not doing like a zigzag accordion style. They're all going the same direction. Okay, so now you should have something that kind of curves like that. All right. Now this here is going to be your bottom panel. So what I like to do is I like to lay it flat with all my score lines there. They're all showing. We're going to take our strip and we're going to wrap it round, and we want to line it up with this bottom edge of this first flap here. This is how I've done mine. I don't know if all the tutorials are the same, but a lot of people stuck the pictures down first and then did this bit, and I found that it was just more tricky. So I like to do it this way. So we're going to wrap it around like that, and then we're just going to trim off the excess on here. Like so. Then what I'm going to do is unfold it and just do one side at a time. And what I'm going to do is glue it down to this top flap only. Make sure you don't get any glue on that bottom bit. That's the bit that's going to move. So don't put any glue there. I've got my Tonic Nouveau Deluxe glue. I'm just going to put some liquid glue on there. You can use tape runner if you like. I just like to use liquid glue. It gives me a little bit more wiggle room. So again, I'm going to try and line up this piece here with that bottom edge there. So that just along that edge there, and press it down. Then I'm going to take this side, put adhesive all over this side, and then I'm going to fold that one over, and again make sure that it doesn't come over that edge, because we don't want to put any glue onto this edge here. Okay, so that is all stuck on there, but that can move freely. Okay. Okay. Right, then we're going to start putting our pictures on. Now, this is the bottom layer because it's going to go one, and then another one, and another one, and then your top one. So you need to work out which order you want your pictures in before you start gluing, or you're going to have a bit of trouble. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to go with this order here. So I'm going to do this one first because that's my last one. And all you need to do is put glue, you just want glue just above. Now I've got these corners that I keep forgetting about that are obviously cut out, these corners here. So I'm just going to place that right up against that line. And this is where if you have a thinner bit of card, it can work a bit nice because it would kind of tuck just under there. but I felt like for some reason it felt more stable to have like the same width. So you stick that one down. Then you can go ahead and apply your glue in between each of those score lines. And remember those corners if you've cut the same way I have. So my next one is going to be this one. And I'm just going to line it up perfectly straight along that line. And I'm going to line it up so that it's perfectly along the sides as well, which when you get the top line lined up, it should line up just fine. Right, so now we've got our completed little waterfall. So next I'm going to take my album and I'm going to work out which page I want it to go on. So I'm going to do this side here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out how long I want this bottom bit to be. So my edge of my book is there. So I am just going to cut it just above that line. Now if you were doing this with less restrictions on space, then you could think about doing like a nice little point there and say pull here, something like that. But given my restriction on space, I'm just going to add on a little bit of ribbon. So I've got some of this ribbon here. And all I'm going to do is just kind of do like a little pull tab. And it's going to hang out at the bottom of my book, but I couldn't work out any other way to get around that. So I've got a little stapler here. And I'm going to staple that on before I stick it down in my album. So I'm just going to aim for the middle. And aim to get my stapler straight. And then I've got a little pull tab. And now that's going to flip like that. So to stick it in your book, you're then going to put adhesive only on your little strip there. Okay, don't get glue anywhere else because it won't roll and it won't move. So I'm going to use liquid glue again. Again, you could use red tape if you prefer, or another strong adhesive, but it needs to be a strong adhesive. Then I'm going to line it up with the top edge of my book so that I know it's straight. And then just give it a nice firm press down. And you can all see my grey hair. And just give it a second to dry before you go pulling on it. And then once that firmly is dried on there, then you should be able to just pull your photos. And you can then save some space in your album by having a little waterfall. So there we go. So I hope you had fun today. I'm really sorry that I had to cry on you. I think the lockdown's starting to get to me. I'm getting quite emotional. But I had an amazing time with these dies. I absolutely love them. They are my favorite kind of shape and they've worked so well for this album. So thanks to Surprise Creation for them. They're brilliant. And I'll link everything I can down below. If I forget anything, please let me know. There's also a Facebook group that I have. If you'd like to join the Facebook group, then please do answer all the questions. I will not approve you into the group if you don't, because that's kind of how you can weed out sort of people that aren't actually there for the right reasons. And also please stay tuned to my channel. I am hitting nearly 5,000 subscribers, which is amazing, and I have an enormous giveaway for you. I have got a 5,000 giveaway which I've made up with just over £50 worth of supplies, and I'm gonna have one big UK winner, and I will have one big worldwide winner, and then sort of 3 runners up after that, I think. I might change that, but I've got nearly 5,000 of you subscribed, and so stay tuned because I am going to do a massive giveaway for that. I also have an Arteza giveaway coming up as well. So let's just share the love and get you all crafting some more. Thank you so much. Stay in, stay safe, and see you soon. Bye.